question 13, we have our right triangle with the altitude drawn. So we have 3 right triangles, and now we're finding x, y, and z. So first thing, I'm going to draw my triangles. I have the big triangle, the medium triangle, and then the small triangle. And let's label what we know. So on the big triangle, here's our right angle, it's M. The hypotenuse is this side, x plus 12. The short leg is y, and the long leg is z. So that one's got all our variables. I assume we're not going to use that one first to solve for x. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, our smaller triangles, T is the right angle. Let's look right here. And I like to always start with the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is z, and then the short leg is 4 square root of 21, and the long leg is x. And last one, let's look at the smaller triangle here. So the hypotenuse is y. The short leg is 12, and the long leg is 4 square roots of 21. Okay, everything's labeled. Let's just start with x. That's what we're trying to solve for first. So here's 2 sides that are going to line up. They're both values. There's no variables. We're going to use those. And then x, here's x. It aligns with 4 square roots of 21. So let's make our ratios. X to 4 square root of 21 equals, and then we're going to go that same order, 4 square root of 21 over 12. Okay, we're set up. We're going to cross multiply. 12 times x equals 4 square root of 21 times 4 square root of 21. And remember, when we multiply square roots together, they go away, right? So we have 4 square root of 21 times 4 square root of 21, which is 336. Now to get x by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 12. So x equals 336 divided by 12, which is 28. So x is 28. So everywhere we have an x, we're going to get 28. And now we're going to do the same thing with y and z. So I just drew all over these triangles. I'm going to redraw them just because I want to see what I'm looking at. So here now our hypotenuse of our long triangle is 12 plus 28, which is 40. So this side length is actually 40 all the way across. And then our smaller medium triangle, the hypotenuse is now that's not the hypotenuse. It's like the hypotenuse is z. The short leg is still 4 square roots of 21, but now we know the long leg is 28. And then our small triangle, right angle still t. The hypotenuse is y. The short leg is 12, and the long leg is 4 square roots of 21. Because I'm using black, that's kind of hard to see. So I'm going to just rewrite it. Okay. So now we want y, and we have these values here again. So now I'm going to use these 2 outer triangles because this middle triangle doesn't have y anywhere in it. So I'm not going to use a triangle that doesn't have y to solve for y. All right, so these outside ones both have y. So let's line them up. 40 goes with y. 40 to y, and then y to 12. Same order that we're setting up our proportions. So now let's cross multiply. Y times y is y squared. and then 40 times 12. Which is 480. We don't want y squared, we just want y, so we're going to square root both sides. So y equals the square root of 480, which is a decimal. And notice there's nowhere that says round, so we're going to leave our answer exact as a square root. So y equals the square root of 480. And I'm actually going to type that in. So 28 and then square root of 480. Okay, let's do z. We've got one more on this problem. And this time, I'm not going to redraw the triangles. I'm just going to use the two triangles that have z, right? So this one doesn't have z, it has y. Not going to use it. I'm going to use the two that have z and kind of do the same thing. Z goes to 28. Let me get down here while I have more room. So z goes to 28, and that's going to be equal to, and then 40 to z. And it's okay to have two z's. All that does is it creates a z squared, and we take a square root. No big deal. So z times z is z squared. And then we're going to have 28 times 40, which is 1120. And then it's the same thing we did with the y. We're going to get rid of that square and take the square root. So square root of 1120 is a decimal. So that means we're going to leave it as a square root. This is the exact answer, the square root of 1120. So let's type that in, square root 1120.